as well in Midway.
Yeah.
I
Don't
could have
panic
used
about.
the I could have used the
Yeah,
light cruiser, but anyway, that'll do.
yeah, that's right. Remember, flip your transport when you unload. All
Yeah.
right. I'm going to grab Nathan, and we're going to go off to the Allies room. So, Nathan, if you scroll down the list of voice channels, there's one marked Allies. So just jump across to there.
You want all the
Blaine
allies
and
to move across?
well, Blaine and Brian, you can join us, but this is specifically I wanted to. Okay, so you've got the map up, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, so in 1942, Barbarossa is mostly good for you in that it gives you more time to build up your defensive front line. And generally, the way that I teach people this is your defensive front line in the south always needs to be along the Nepa River. So that's this lot down here are all your defensive front line. And your defensive front line in the north either needs to be on the Volkhov, which is down here, for a 41 Barbarossa, but for a 42 Barbarossa, you can bring it a little bit forward and put it on the Dvina, which is along here, runs through Latvia. So we've been putting units as much as we can there. Now, Germany will get a surprise impulse, and in a surprise impulse, those rivers don't count. So the idea being to stop him hitting that river line on the first impulse.
The second
And
river line or the first river line?
The second river line. You're not going to be able to stop him hitting along here because that's where he'll hit. But you want to be able to stop him hitting along here or along here on the first impulse, right? And the way you're going to do that is by using what we call roadblocks. So every core-sized unit, and if you scroll in, most of your core-sized units are actually armies. So this guy here, the 8th Army, there sitting in whatever that town is, Minsk, has a ZOC in all of the hexes around it. So any German unit moving into any of those hexes has to stop. Now, if you put another unit in Vilna that had a ZOC, right, maybe a unit in Kaunas that has a ZOC, the advantage of these cities is that he can't blitz them. He can't break through and roll over them. He has to stop and fight an assault battle. And then if you put a unit in this port city here, or maybe this forest hex here, then that would mean you'd have ZOCs in all of these hexes, which, well, those two in particular, which would stop him hitting your river line on the first impulse. Now, some of your units might die. They're Russians. They don't mind dying. They kind of enjoy it, actually. But some of them might survive and they might run back. So where you're lacking at the moment is extra troops along this river, the rest of this river line here, and then extra troops down here along this river line as far south as Kiev, and then something in the Smolensk gap. Now, you will get reserves that come on as reinforcements in the first impulse. They'll come on face down, but some of them are quite good units. So you could put those reserves into the Smolensk gap, and that would probably hold Germany for a time or two. If you scroll further to the east, you'll see some units hanging around in Iran and Iraq, and that's because Iran and Iraq have both been conquered by you. You've got a core in Baghdad. I would leave that there for the time being. Maybe rail it out later. There's a difference with the color of the printing on some of your core. You'll see the white print core, like this 6-4 in Baghdad, and also this 5-factor here, and then up near Riga, there's another couple. I'll get into why those are important later, but they're your best units for counter-attacking in the first winter. right? There's
Okay.
a rule here called winterization. All of your white print units are winterized, and none of the Germans are winterized except their mountain corps. So,
Okay.
so that gives you an advantage in in
Combat.
in the winter, in the snow turns and blizzard
Right.
turns, right? So that's and in particular, the Germans, if they attack you in the snow, they're going to be at -4, which is a fairly significant penalty, and another -2 for every white print unit that is winterized unit that you have in the stack. So if you have a stack of 2 white print units that he's -8 to attack you, and even if he starts at good odds, that's going to discourage him from having a go.
Right.
So just like that's where he's going to draw the line, is if he has to attack you with lots of minuses, he's going to say, no, that's not something I want to do.
So why did I
Right?
send them to Iraq? That seems like the wrong place.
Well, you sent them to Iraq because the um, the units that you need, for the winterized units that you need in the winter counterattacks, are not going to be needed on the first, second, or third turn of Barbarossa. So the May, June, July, August, or September, October turns, those winterized units are not going to be needed. They're going to be needed on the fourth turn, which is the December, January, or the November, December, and on the fifth turn, which is the January, February turn of 43.
So were they sent
So
to
as
Iraq
long
because it
as
was
you
a
can,
stronger unit because it's a 6-4 and the others I have are weaker?
that's correct. So the white print units are generally speaking stronger. And we'll get into the production side of things. You've now got a lot more white print units that are coming off your production track. And generally speaking, what I advise Russian players to do is to focus their white print units in the north, and look at counterattacking, especially anything that is either a forest hex or a swamp hex. So basically, a swamp hex, so like these guys here are swamp hexes, they're 5 movement points to enter, which means most of your units, which are 3 and 4 movement points, are going to flip when they enter a swamp hex. You can exceed your movement allowance by 1 hex, but you flip over your unit when you do it. Now you got this guy here, this cavalry. He does have a movement of 5, so he can move into a swamp and then keep going. Of course, once you've flipped, you can't move anymore. But your other units are not going to be able to enter a swamp without flipping. However, on a snow impulse, a swamp is no longer a swamp, it's a forest.
I see.
Now, the important thing about swamp hexes and forest hexes when it comes to where your winterized counterattacks are going to be is that snow turns he's going to have an air advantage over you in the first year, right? So you're going to have a certain number of planes, but he's going to have double or triple that. So in those winterized counterattacks, he's going to be able to put bombers in where you're not going to be able to put bombers in, right?
Okay.
However, in a snow turn, the bombers' factors are halved, and in a forest hex or a swamp hex, they're halved again. So his 4-factor bomber becomes a 1-factor bomber. So even though he's got a big air advantage over you, it doesn't make a difference in a swamp hex or a forest hex. So again, look at these forest hexes. Maybe he's going to push you out of your front line back to your second line or your third line, but then look at all of these swamp and forest hexes in the north, right? And think, okay, there's all my counterattack opportunities, right? In the south, in the Ukraine, there's not so many forest hexes. It's all
When you
big,
say
wide open plains.
counterattack opportunities, you mean counterattacking from there or into there?
Into there.
Okay.
Into there. Yep. Yep. So that's basically where we're at with Russia. You are restricted at the moment in that you're neutral, and in your turns, in your impulses, when you're neutral, you can only take one impulse type, and that is combined. Now, if you go to the charts box, and then this will open up a whole new kind of like map for you. If you've got a second screen, it helps. But more importantly, your impulse type which for Russia has to be combined, means that you can only, on the activities tab, you'll see it, you can only move a certain number of land units per impulse. So now this is impulse 8. It's the Russians to move, and because you have to do it combined, you can only move 4 air units. You can only do 1 rail move, and you can only make 5 land moves. So this is what's slowing you down a little bit getting into some of these forward spaces, in that you can only do 1 rail move at a time, and you can only move 5 land units at a time.
Okay.
So let's look at your defensive line in the south. Firstly, your front line, and the Russians at this point have claimed Bessarabia. So all of these hexes, your side of that red dotted line, are Russia. So he can only start his units along here. Ideally, you want to stop him cutting this rail line on the first impulse, because you want to use that rail line to get the Odessa factory out. This unit will put a ZOC into that hex, which means he can't move through that hex to cut your rail line. So that's a good place to have a unit. That's a good place to have a unit, again, because it's a city. He'll have to assault you to get you out of it. And it means you've got ZOCs here and here with your frontline units, but nothing there, right?
Okay.
Now, so what I've done is at the back of this little 1 hex wide gap in your front line, I've put a stack of 2 relatively strong but fast units there, one of which is expendable, a cavalry. But what it will mean is that he can come through here and attack you, but it'll only be a 1 hex attack. Now, in the surprise impulse, this river line won't count, but nonetheless, it's not going to be a high odds attack for him. And if he does that attack, he risks flipping, and if he flips, he can't go any further for the whole turn, and that's a pain in the ass for him. So he's not going to want to do that.
Why
What
does
he'll
he flip?
probably
'Cause he's
do,
crossing the river, or what?
no, he won't flip crossing the river, but he might flip on a bad combat die roll if he doesn't have very high
I see.
odds.
I see.
When you look at the combat table, if your roll is low, then your units flip. If your roll is high, then your units stay face up.
I see.
So that's ideally what he wants to do on the first turn, is attack you in ways that will leave him face up so that he can keep going for the rest of the turn. Now, you do have 1 unit in the rear area, because I've done a few rail moves already, and it's over in Chelyabinsk in the Urals, and it's a 4-factor infantry unit, and you could rail that forwards to somewhere. You could rail it, because we've now decided we want to put units here, here, and then maybe here. So you could rail that 4-factor unit to counters. Now, 4's not very many factors, but it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how weak or how strong you are in the city hex, he still has to stop there and assault. So it means it works like a speed bump, right? So that's one thing that I would do, this impulse, is rail that unit across to counters. It flips when you rail it, so you can't rail it again or move it again for the rest of the impulse. But again, that doesn't matter, because that's where it's going to stay. So the way you would rail that unit, just in vassal terms, is I'm going to pick it up. I'll do this for you so you can just see it's done. All I'm going to do is click on it. It's in Chelyabinsk in the Urals. I'm going to drag it all the way across the map. Fortunately, I've got a big screen. I'll drop it into Kaunas, and then I'll hit Alt F, and it will get a marker across it saying it's face down. It's also got a little blue tag on it, and that's to say it's moved. Any unit that moves gets a little blue tag on it, and that will stay there until the next impulse. At the end of the impulse, all of those little tags will get removed. Right, so that's basically how you do it. In terms of your other units, looking around the map. Most of them are pretty much where they want to be. Maybe this cavalry unit would be better off. The nice thing about cavalry is it can run away faster. So you could afford to put that cavalry maybe here into the forest hex. Again, it's not likely to get hit on the first impulse very hard because he's going to run through, and having a couple of units on that river line might dissuade him. I wouldn't stand and fight for that river line because he'll come around behind you, but it'll provide a little bit of a roadblock so that you can slow him down on his road to Smolensk. The other units in the back line is your engineer division in Moscow, and I would leave that there. You're not going to need that for the first year or two of the campaign. It might be useful. What an engineer unit helps you do is it helps you cross rivers without being halved when you're attacking, right?
Okay.
You're not going to be attacking on the first couple of turns, so just keep that engineer unit out of harm's way. They take a long time to train engineers. They take a long time to produce them. And then the other units that you have are over in Siberia, and the Japanese haven't put any significant amount of force into Manchuria. You do have Zhukov, who's your best commander, and he's sitting there on the Manchurian border. And at some point, you're going to have to rail him back to your front to use him as an HQ commander. You could possibly swap him out with Timoshenko, who's one of your least valuable HQs, and put Timoshenko on the Eastern Front, or you could just leave the Eastern Front without an HQ. That doesn't matter.
Okay.
The other thing that's happened in the game, in fact, earlier this turn, is that Stalin demanded the Finnish borderlands, and the Germans said, yes, sure, you can have it. So now these hexes marked Finnish borderlands here, just north of Leningrad, they now belong to Russia, right? So you can move units in there. You can't move units into Petsamo. That's still part of Finland. But at some point, you might rail a less valuable unit into Leningrad and then walk that unit from Leningrad up to the Finnish borderlands hex, just so that you occupy this hex to stop the Finns coming back into it too easily. So that's hopefully going to happen fairly soon. Like I said, we're still in May, June 41. You still got a lot of time before the Germans are going to launch their attacks. You've got a few more units coming, and you've got a lot more time to produce stuff between now and 41. So at this stage, you and the USA are doing roughly the same thing. You're focusing on production to get yourselves into the war later. One of the other things that I did is I put 3 bombers up in Murmansk up here, and I said, and another one back here in Archangels, and I said to the Germans, the Russians would like the Finnish borderlands, and if you don't give them to me, then Russia's going to declare war on Finland. Now, at the time, I had a stack of core, 4 of them, in Murmansk, plus 3 bombers, plus this bomber, and all of those bombers would have been doubled in an assault on Petsamo on the first impulse. The surprise impulse works either way here. So if you had declared war, then Germany would have lost Petsamo, or Finland would have lost Petsamo pretty much immediately, and that's not a hex that Germany wants to give up because there's a resource in it. And Germany needs as many resources as they can have. Plus, also, it's the only port that they have on the Arctic Ocean. So losing that would lose them access to the Arctic Ocean, which they might want later in the game to try to harass your forces around Murmansk, or be able to sink British convoys coming in through the Arctic Ocean or something like that. So that's where we're at. I think you can watch and learn for a few sessions.
Sure.
Where there's stuff that needs doing. Like I said, you need to get 1 more unit here at some point and 1 here. You'll notice that there's a face down unit here and another one here. They've railed in. They were used to take out Iraq, but then they were no longer needed, and they railed across to the Ukraine, because most of your armour and mech units are going to be needed on this front line down here to repel the German armoured attack. You can expect that most of the German armour will come in through this way, and up this way they'll send their heavy infantry, maybe an armoured corps or two, but the armoured units are not as effective when they're attacking into a forest hex. They lose their armour bonus. So it's much more productive for the Germans to send the majority of their armour to the south and hit that Ukraine river line with it.
So I have
Okay?
a question. I have all of Iran and Iraq.
That's correct, yes. Because you took the capitals, that puts them under your conquest. Now, what I should do is put a little control marker in those capitals. I'll do that now.
And I mean, I guess my question is like, I would imagine the UK and the United States would not be happy about that, right?
Well, there was what's called a US entry roll for each of those. And Brian, who's here, Retro Wargamer, is the US player. And I specifically asked Brian, is it okay if I take Iran, and then is it okay if I take Iraq? And initially when I said, can I have Iran, he said no. And then I waited a few turns and asked again, and eventually he said yes. Now there's a system here called US entry, and Brian wants to not let his US entry level drop below a certain number, especially early in the game. And so that was why that was his reason for declining to allow Russia to take on Iran and Iraq. But he's now happy with them. Iran is good for you. It gives you 3 oil. Iraq is good for you. It gives you 2 oil, although it takes one of those oil away from France, although in actual fact, France is not using any oil at the moment anyway, so it doesn't really matter very much. But yes, you need that oil, and we'll do a true up when we get to production phase to show you exactly how much of that oil you need.
I mean, like just historically, if the Soviets had done that, don't you think that the UK would have?
Well, historically, the Soviets did do that. They invaded Iran from the north, and the British and the Americans invaded Iran from the south at the same time, and they divided it up between them. And that was only because the Shah of Iran wouldn't agree to allow resources to be transported through Iran into Russia, and they wouldn't agree to sell oil to the Russians because there was a Nazi diplomat in Tehran who
And was that after
convinced
the
Shah.
Germans invaded the Soviets?
That was after the Germans invaded the Soviets, yes.
Right.
And then, yeah, but in this game we often like to take Iran before Barbarossa, especially if Barbarossa is a bit delayed. And then if it's a 42 Barbarossa, I'll also take out Iraq just for the oil. There's a rule that says if the Axis can get 4 corps into Syria, then they can align Iraq, which means Iraq becomes active and on the Axis side. Now, Iraq's not particularly powerful, but what it might do is allow the Germans or the Italians to start railing units through Iraq and attacking Russia from the south. And so you don't want that to happen. So far, one of the things that Japan can do is they can come across and occupy the southern oil, but so far that hasn't happened. And the Japanese seem like they're gearing up for what's called a rampage. And we've had chats about that, but we'll see how that works later in the game. Probably not next turn, but probably the turn after. We'll see a Japanese rampage where they'll declare war on the Commonwealth and the Netherlands, and they'll start occupying islands to create their defensive parameter. And at some point after that, either the US will declare war on Japan or Japan will declare war on the US, depending on what the US entry level works like.
So
but we'll see how that works.
The Soviets did take half of Poland, right?
They did take half of Poland. Yes, they have East Poland. It's not very well garrisoned. There's a corps in Lvov and a corps sitting in the forest hex. Now, historically, of course, the the Russians were lined up along all of these hexes down here. That's a really dumb idea, and we've elected not to do it, right? Because any German corps coming across on that first impulse are going to have the advantage where the river lines don't count. They get combat bonuses. All their artillery is doubled. All their bombers are doubled, etc., etc. So standing on that front line is a bad idea. Your real defensive line is going to be back here at Kiev and then D-Town and then behind the river. And everything in front of that is a roadblock, basically. Right. So these guys here in these frontline hexes, this 3-1 Garrison Corps in Lvov, I think the hero of the Soviet Union medallions have already been minted and dispatched to the grieving widows. They're not going to survive the first impulse, generally speaking. So they're kind of sacrificial.
Is there any mechanism that would lead the UK to decide that the Soviets are a larger threat than the Germans?
In another game, so there's an add-on for WIF called Days of Decision, and that can happen in Days of Decision. Yes, the Soviets can flip and side with the Germans. The Americans can side with the Germans against the Russians. All of the minor country alliances can change. Romania can join the French. Sweden can join the Germans. Finland can join the Russians. All sorts of crazy stuff can happen. But in the standard WIF game that we're playing, then there's no scenario at which the Commonwealth would find themselves at war with Russia.
So what this is modeling is the UK and the United States understand that Germany is dead set on a war in Europe, and so they're appeasing the Soviets with the understanding that that there's going to be a war coming, and the Soviets are going to have to be on the side of the UK and the US. Is that how it works?
That's pretty much the assumption that's made. Right. Yes. Okay. You and the Americans are on the same side. You don't cooperate, and we'll see how that mechanism works later, but the Americans can't move units into Russia unless they move an HQ in there first. And then the HQ will dictate how many other units can move in. But generally speaking, the USA can't put a significant force into Russia.
And historically, the UK and the US, they were warning Stalin that Hitler was going to invade, right?
That's right. So the UK and the US thoroughly knew about, well, maybe not the details of Hitler's planning, but they certainly knew that Hitler was planning to invade.
And they were warning Stalin, so they were
they were warning. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they absolutely were warning him. Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
All right, so now we need to do your impulse. I've done the one and only one rail move. I don't actually see anything else that needs doing. The only thing that I will say is that you've got a paratrooper in Leningrad, right? The paratrooper is very valuable, and you don't want to put it anywhere near the front line. Leningrad's not front line right now, but it might be later. So when you have a rail move to spare, I would rail that paratrooper out and put it somewhere where you might be able to use it for your winter counteroffensives, and that might be somewhere like Kalin and Yaroslavl, maybe even back here, or maybe Moscow, depending on how well the first waves go for you. Paratroopers are very useful offensive units, but they're not very good at holding ground. And then these bombers will actually retire those to the reserve pool. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, the etiquette here is that we're allowed to talk in the Allies channel for as long as we like, but if we are doing stuff on the map to the extent where we're announcing that we're doing stuff, then we will go back to Game Channel 1 and do it there. Before I go back, Blaine.
Hello.
Your production, you have got militia in the 2 box on the production chart. Did you pay 1 build point each for those militia, or did you pay 2 build points?
I paid 1 build point, so they were slowed down. That's how it works, isn't it?
Okay, yes, you can do that. I'm just double checking, because if normally a militia would go directly to the deploy box, but you can choose to pay less and have it come on a turn later. So yeah, just wanted to double check that. All right, That's
Yes,
fine.
yeah, because the theory was, say, I might not need the Montreal one immediately, so I can just leave that.
That's right. Yeah,
if
and you're
I'm short
talking
on build
about
points.
that's right. You're talking about maybe needing the Auckland one and maybe the Rangoon one immediately. Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Oh, Joel, just whilst we're all here, do you have you mentioned the China Road that we're connecting?
The Peshawar
Russia.
Road. Okay. So the Peshawar Road is complete, is it? Yes, the Peshawar Road is complete on the India and China side. So you're going to be looking after China as well, Nathan.
Okay.
I will continue to look after China just for a little while, and then I'll hand it over. But there's been a cooperative effort to construct what's called the Peshawar Road, which is a road from Rawalpindi in north of India, and then it connects up to the old Silk Road in far western China. And using that road, the Commonwealth can send resources and build points into China. Specifically, build points is what's needed. So we'll get to that when we get to production. But we've already done that on the trade agreements tab, haven't we? Commonwealth to China, 2 build points. Okay. All right. Now, is the Burma Road open or closed?
I believe it's closed.
Let me have a check on the entry chat.
Not 100% sure now.
US reopens Burma Road, Jan Feb 41. The Burma Road is open. So the Hanoi resource can be sent to Kunming. Now, the Hanoi resource can be blocked if Japan puts an extra core in the hex, in the Nanning hex here. So you might want to consider whether you're sending the Burma oil to China as well, because the Burma oil can't be blocked. I don't see that on the tab. Let me just check. Commonwealth to China is not showing up as a resource. USA to China is not showing up as a resource. France to China is not showing up as a resource either. So currently there's nothing being loaned to China. So you might want to consider saying that the Commonwealth is going to send the Burma oil to China. That will be the best use of that oil, I think. So let's do that. That's one oil.
Oh, the build points is going. Oh, that's on there. Yes.
The build points is going, but the build points is going via the Peshawar Road. The oil can't go to the via the Peshawar Road because the oil needs to end up in Kunming, and Kunming doesn't connect to the Silk Road. This is before Mao's great leap forward, building all the rail lines all over China. So it's just all these dirt tracks. Okay, I'll go back to so it's Allied Impulse, Commonwealth doing combined, China doing land, France. Brian?
Yeah, France. Well, I'm not really moving anything. I'm just thinking I could move a ship out into Cape St. Vincent, but that's about it because I don't want to spend any oil. So
Yeah, just one ship out to Cape St. Vincent. And then
yeah,
just
I'll
make
chuck it in the 4 box. Probably, what is it? A CA, I think. If it's a CL,
you got a CL and a CA in Mogador. So put the CA out into the top
Yeah.
box, CL out into the 1 box.
I didn't want to spend oil, Del, so just one ship.
No, but later in the turn, yeah.
Yeah.
One ship now and 1 ship later. Yep.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. Yep.
All right, let's go back to the main channel, guys.
Okay.
Yep.
Trigger a search option because there's a face-up Italian sub there. So
it's moving in, yeah. So
moving
okay.
in,
Searching.
yes, it's not moving through.
So I'm trying to
Searching.
oh no. He's not moving through. So yeah.
He's not moving through. You don't get the
Okay.
option to intercept. You can only search. Do you want to search? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't either.
No, no. There's a whole heap of big nasty stuff. Well, there's the Queen's in the 0 box, but there's a whole heap of big nasty stuff protecting it. So probably wouldn't touch that myself. Especially considering to strike at the Queen's, you'll need to pick a surface combat, and there's some heavy ships in there with the Queen's. So, and there's a bunch of Spaniards in the 2 box. All right. So Brian is doing a combined for France, Commonwealth combined, China land, which I'll look after, USSR combined, of course, and I think we've done one rail move for Russia, and then everything else is just rearranging deck chairs at this stage. So let me just go back over and have a look to see if anything needs doing for China. No, not really. Oh, yes, we're going to do this little swap here on the border. So that will flip, and that will go in and not flip. Okay, that was in the north, Phil.
Yeah.
Mountain core jumped into a mountain hex and displaced a garrison. Nothing happening in the south. That's it for China. No oil spent for China.
USA spent 2 oil, moving 3 ships.
Mhm.
And France spent no oil.
Okay.
And the Commonwealth is doing an attack on Mogadishu.
Mogadishu. The African campaign is on. The Horn of Africa campaign is on. A little bit late. So we've got a defense of 3. I don't see anything that can. So what have you got? You've got a 4 and a 5. You got the Bombay militia and the South African infantry. You've looked like you've got a couple of bombers.
Yep.
One of which is
long range or the
long
extended
range, so halved. So yeah, 3.5 bombers, 1.5 plus 2. 4 plus 5 divide 2. Oh yes, because of the river.
And then the
1.5 plus 2.
Malay and the is it Barnum? My eyes cannot read the text.
Barham.
Yep. Malaya.
Yep. Yeah, so they're contributing 5 factors, but rounded down to 4.5 because that's the strength of the land unit. So it's an 8.3. It's a city. So Raphael, is your choice of combat table. There is a retreat path. Assault. Okay, 2d10 plus 8.3. Lane.
So do we do the 0.3 thing first?
Well, you can either do it in Discord, in which case you do it at the same time. In fact, let's do that this time just so that we get used to doing it. You don't have to do it in Discord all the time, but I'd like people to get used to using Discord for die rolls. So you type in /R space, and then you'll see the little command box, and then you type in exactly what's in the result section, 2d10 plus 8.3.
Oh, and then it will roll it for us.
It will roll it for you, yes.
Yep.
A 16. He's rolled 8, which could have been better. It's an X1 for 1. It's a city hex, so you do lose a second unit. You do kill the Italian unit, though, but both of your ground units die.
I think I can take a supply unit as a casualty, yes?
It's a 0 factor. You may be right. It's a 0 factor in brackets. So
it means there's no attack, doesn't it?
It means it can't attack.
It can't attack at 0 as well, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, 3. I think there was a big debate about this earlier, and I can't remember what the
outcome was.
The result, what the outcome is. Generally speaking,
You can take guns.
You
things
can
like
take
flag,
guns, but guns do not have a
a zero factor.
Guns do not have a zero factor.
Yeah. At worst, they will
sure,
defend
Bob
at 1, which means they have a defense factor.
Yep. Die. Now here's
Okay,
where
it says that they are land units. So I guess if they're land units, it says they're division-sized land units. So and there's nothing else about. Yeah.
I think the question was, if Y is a number, the owner destroys that number of defending land units. Now the question was whether the supply dump can be considered a defending land unit. I think with zero factors, it can't be considered an attacking land unit, but it can be considered a defending land unit. So I think you're right. I think you can take the supply dump off. But I will do a little bit of research into that later. So not so good luck, Blaine, sorry.
Yeah. He's still got another unit there, but it's probably not enough to counterattack again.
Yeah, needed one more pip on that die.
Yeah, I haven't had much luck with this campaign, but it balances out with how the naval thing went last time.
Yes, you did have some good naval results. All right. Oh, you've gotten rid of his supply dump, if nothing else.
Which puts them out of supply.
You just have to build some.
If you
It
can
does
flip
put
them.
that. It does put that unit out of supply. Yes, if you can flip it.
Oh, well, he is out of supply, and if he moves or gets flipped, yeah, it depends his way.
Yeah, no, any unit stacked with supply dump is automatically in supply, but now the supply dump's gone, that's that's no longer the case.
Yep.
All right, so there was
Oh,
a
well.
positive. Was a positive to that result.
Expensive
But
way
yeah.
to do it, but righto.
Well, one was a militia. So as I was just saying, militia don't mind dying. Sometimes they quite enjoy it. All right, any further action from the Commonwealth?
No, I moved some convoys to replace the ones that were.
Yeah, you got raided.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, I had
We now
spare
go
in the Caribbean to move out, set up an island.
So we now go back to the impulse chart for the axis to hit the impulse end button.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Can end on a 2. So Nathan, at the end of every impulse, we roll a die to see if the turn ends. So turns can take a variable number of impulses, and it ends. Now, it was Axis initiative, and it was Axis went first, so the impulse marker doesn't change. It's still +1 to Axis. Allies win ties, and Axis can reroll. So we're now to US entry and partisan phase. So partisans first. It was the Axis that had initiative, so it's Axis die roll. Raphael 1d10 for partisans.
9.
A 9. Sweden, no. Italy, Romania, Turkey, Afghanistan, Iran. Iran, yes. Iran has a partisan value of 4 and no garrison because both the corps are face down. So 1d10 looking for a 4 or less.
Okay.
Raphaelis again.
9.
No partisan.
Australia, no.
Australia, no. Burma, red, and China. So Burma has a partisan value of 2 and a garrison of 1.
I've got 1.
So
yep.
Got a 1. That would be you, Phil. 1 or less.
Okay. Burma. Nope.
5. No partisan.
China.
China. So we're looking for units not in a ZOC. I count 1, 2, 3, 4. ZOC, 5. ZOC because that's an HQ. Air unit 6. Air unit and HQ 7, 8. ZOC.
What
No
about
ZOC.
Canton?
Yeah, just hang on a second. 8.
Yeah.
One of those is Fancy down 9. Canton 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With one, no partisans already existing, so that is one partisan automatic,
You're
no
right.
chance of the second one. So let me grab one out over there. That's a 0 factor. Where are we going to put it? We can't. We could put it in the forest hex because that unit there doesn't have a ZOC. Is that what we're going to
You go
do?
into
Yes, we
Shanghai as well, can't it?
could go into Shanghai, but it's got 0 combat factors. At least putting it in a forest gives it 1 combat factor. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Yeah.
Put it in the. Yep. So Shanghai would be an automatic attack. I mean, here
Yeah.
it's plus 10, but it
Uh-huh.
still means he has to roll. He still means he has to roll a dice,
Yeah.
or perhaps move a second unit. So that's it for the partisans. US entry. So the
US entry.
first thing we're going to do is I need to take the offensive chits away from Thingo. So
Do you want to
think
level up the tripartite pact? Sorry, the Russian-German pact chips
yeah,
as
that's
well?
what I want to do first. So there are 13 plus 5 is 18 chits. Now, Nathan, can you go to the main vassal menu? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Go to the main vassal menu and you'll see a US entry and parts button. Hit that button and it will open up a US entry pacts and partisans box.
Yep, I see it.
Now, the previous Russian player had 4 chits in the pool but should have had 8. I've been not drawing chits for Russia because when you draw a chit, they come out of the pool and they're owned by you and only you can unflip them and see them. So you need to draw. Do you see where the chit pool is here?
Yeah.
This pile. You need to draw 8 chits out of that chit pool, and then you can either put them here or here. So here is offensive. This allows you to declare war on Germany, and here is defensive. This is what stops Germany declaring war on you. Assuming you've stuffed the border, which you haven't, and I don't think we're going to go for a stuff the border tactic at this point because it's not a good tactic for new players. So what I would do is I would draw 8 chits from here, put them in the defensive pool, and you need to turn them face up. So each time you draw a chit out, right click it and then go mask, and it will show the value to everybody. You can see the value of the chits that you pull out, but nobody else can.
Okay.
So you need to drag 8 chits pull 8 chits out of here,
Right.
turn them each face up, and put them over here.
All right. I'm gonna try
In the meantime, in fact, it'll be 9 chits. In the meantime, Germany will draw 2 chits. So Raphaelis, that's you, I think.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to do it now. 1.
Yep.
Why do I? Okay. And I right click and select mask. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And then that flips it.
Yes. So now everybody can see the value of that chit, which is a 3.
It's
Prior
9.
to you picking mask,
Now I keep doing it 8 more times.
you keep doing that till you've got 9 of them.
Right.
Yep, 8 more times.
Second one.
Okay, and you may as well do yours at the same time, Brian, because there's so many chits muddled in.
Put one chit out then for me.
Yeah, you can take one
Yeah.
out, have a look.
Yeah,
Peek.
I've had a look, and I've got to think where I'm sticking it.
6.
Yeah, all right. So that is which here? It's going in the German pool. That one.
Okay,
Okay, Del, I think I'm done.
And now, all right, terrific. It should show 9 chits. It does, yep, and they're all face up. 1's a 6.
And
I'm going to be
I'm
happy with
just
that.
looking at my tension levels. I won't be choosing any options, Del.
Okay, no options. Okay.
Nope.
All right. So
Ah,
that's the end
righto.
of the US. Yep, he's chosen no options.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's an interesting piece of information for the Axis players to know. We now are going to do returns to base and production. I'm going to try to talk Nathan through production. We'll go off to Allies chat. Does anybody else want to got any questions before I do that?
Nothing
The Japanese
major.
have got their
Okay.
production organised. All right.
You've got yours organised already. Okay. And Blaine
Yep.
is, I think, partway through his. All right. So, Nathan, let's go to Allies chat again. Now, we'll do China first because I'll do that and it's the easiest bit. I need to have 2 windows open, one of which is production. And if you see the red labeled black background production button, that will open up and a tabbed, bewildering array of these things. But I'm looking at the first one, which is China 5th chart.
Okay.
And then I will also open up force pools and I'll drag that over the other side, put it on a different monitor because I've got a few of them. So in the bottom left-hand corner, I can see that I've got 8 build points for China. In fact, it's 7. There's a problem with the version of this module. It's showing me too many. I removed a unit from the Carter pool and it didn't take it down. So I've actually got 7.
I don't see
So the
force
first
pools.
thing I do, force pools, FPs, HWs, and annual adds.
FPs. Okay, got it. Yeah.
To the left of production, yep. So again, the first tab of that is the China force pool. The problem that the Chinese have is they don't have enough stuff in this force pool. But I'm going to start building up some divisions. The first thing I'm going to do is the way this chart works. This is the 5th chart, Factories in Flames chart. Is you spend build points on either lowering units from the numbered boxes to the deploy box, and when the unit hits the deploy box, then we're going to put it on the map. Or we'll spend build points on taking new units off of the chart and putting them out of the production pool, and we'll put them on the chart. So I'm going to do that in that order. I'm going to do box drops first, and then I'm going to start buying new units. The first thing I'm going to do is hit the move off, so those little blue tags go away. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend box drops. So each box drop costs me 1 build point. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 box drops. I have 7 build points, so that means I've only got 1 build point left. And with that 1 build point, I'm going to get an infantry division, and I'm going to put it in. I can pull it out of here. I've put it on the thingo. I'll flip it over. And you'll see it's got 2 green, 2 white on the back of it.
Yeah.
That means the white means it starts in the 2 box, and the number in green is the total cost. Now, 2 green and 2 white means that I'm going to pay 1 build point the first turn and 1 build point the second turn, and then it'll be on the map. I'm going to put that unit in Chongqing, and that'll cost me 1 build point. So that's my 7 now spent, and I'll spend another build point next turn to put it on the map. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do with the Chinese is I'm going to put the units on the map. So I'll just move my production map aside. Now, I'll start with the left-hand column. the first unit in the left-hand column is the Canton Militia. Now, I had that at the beginning of the game, and it got what's called blitzed, which
When you
means
say
it gets
left-hand
taken off
column of which table?
of the production maps, the fifth chart, the China fifth chart, the one with the yellow background. I can put the force pools away now because I don't need that anymore.
Oh, the force pools window is put away?
Yeah, I've put the force pool window away, and I've now just got the production map window.
Okay, I've got that open, and it's the
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, and it's the first tab.
Yeah, first tab, China fifth chart. Yep.
Okay, and you're looking at the first
So,
column.
yep.
Got it.
And in the first column, I've got the Canton Militia,
Okay.
which got blitzed off, which means it goes from the map into the deploy box that I can put it back on the map at any point. Unfortunately, the only place where the Canton Militia can appear is Canton, and Canton is currently Japanese owned at the moment. So I can't put that unit on the map. It's just stuck there. Right?
Okay.
Garrison units, which are these ones in the next column, can go into any city on the map. Now, in China, I actually have the nationalists China, which are in the south. I've actually started to run out of cities because the Japanese keep taking them off of me. But I've got 2 cities, one called Chongqing and one called Kunming. So I'm actually just going to take those 2 units and put one in each city, right? Now the one in Chongqing is hidden by the plane, but it's definitely still there.
Del, I want to mention on the main view, I keep having my view jump around. I'm guessing other people are like.
Okay. So go to the main menu.
Yeah.
File, and then down to preferences.
Okay.
Then it'll open up a preferences window, and about halfway down, there's a box marked center on opponent's moves.
Yes.
Turn that off.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. That'll stop your map jumping around. Okay. So now I've got the Chongqing units, which I should put in Chongqing, but I can't because Chongqing is fully stacked, right? So the stacking limit on this in this game is 2 core size units plus 1 division. Now I've already got Stilwell, who's a core sized unit, and the garrison and an anti-aircraft in Chongqing, so it's fully stacked. So that means when I deploy the Chongqing units, I can put them on any hex adjacent to Chongqing as long as it's not in a Japanese zone of control. Now that makes it a little bit confusing because this stack has a zone of control, but this stack does not. Because on the Asia map, you need 2 core in the same hex to have a zone of control. Okay. So that means I can put my Chongqing reinforcements into this hex because this unit by itself doesn't have a zone of control. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Grab the infantry, drop it on top, grab the artillery, drop it on top, and that's my reinforcement done. The last unit is the communist infantry, the 6-factor infantry, which can appear in Lanchao. I don't have to put it in Lanchao. I can put it in any city that can be reached by rail from Lanchao. Unfortunately, that road running through Lanchao is not actually a rail line, it's just a road. So I don't have any option about that communist infantry unit. It must appear in Lanchao. So there it is. And that's Chinese production and reinforcement done. So now we'll go across to Russia, USSR fifth chart, and this will be a bit more taxing. And sorry if I'm speeding through this, but I'll get you to.
It's starting to sink in, so thank you.
Yep, I'll get you to sort of watch and follow. Oops, pushed the wrong button. So I'm going to open the Russian force pool again, move it across to the other map. USSR force pools, and again I'm going to click move off, and I'm going to just double check my number of build points. I'm getting 2 build points received. That makes sense. I've got 28 resources and 31 factories. So I'm still constrained by resources. So I'm not going to save any oil. I could reduce my production and save oil. If I had surplus oil, like the Americans do, then you can save oil and also produce it full. But we don't have that luxury at this stage. And right now, I think producing is more important than saving oil. So again, first thing, I'm going to click move off, and I'm going to box drop the units that I want to box drop. I'm going to start with, actually, I might do these. I'm not going to do these garrison core in the left-hand column. The reason I'm not going to do them is because I can do them at any time. I don't have to box drop a unit if I don't want to. And these can be box dropped at any point for 1 build point each and appear immediately on the map. Garrison core, when you build them in this column, and they can go to any city anywhere that you own anywhere on the map. So they're kind of like a bit of a free thing. I am going to drop this unit in Kiev. I'm going to drop Konev, who will appear in Vitebsk. There's 2 white print tanks in Stalino, and I'm going to box drop those. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, there's these 2 infantry over here, 1 in Rostov, 1 in Sevastopol. I'm going to leave those. I'm not going to box drop them right now. So now I'm going to focus on building core. I've actually only got 4 useful core that I want to build. So now is probably a good time to start building units other than core. So I've spent 1, 2, 3, 4 build points out of 16. I've got 12 left. So I'll start by building out the infantry. Each infantry is going to cost me 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the motorized is going to cost me another 2. That's 5, 6. So I'll put those on the chart.
Where are you dragging those units from?
From the force pools that FPs, HWs, and annual ads box.
Oh, okay,
and there's
got it.
Multi-tabbed display there, and the tab I'm getting them out of is USSR, FPs, and ads.
Got it. Thank you.
So I've now run out of core that I really want to build. There's a mountain core there. I'd really like that, but I don't need it till the first winter, and that's still 18 months away, so I can save up and not build that yet. What I'd like is some more anti-tank and anti-aircraft for the south, right? So I'm going to start building a couple of those. So how many have I spent now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 6 left. So I pull an AA unit out, and that is going to cost me 2. So I've got 4 left. I'm going to pull out an anti-tank, right? And that's also going to cost me 2. So I've got 2 left. And do I want to pull an artillery out? No, I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a couple of useful divisions out. The first thing I'm going to do is pull out an armoured division. And that's going to cost 1, right? Because the numbers on the back are the same. And then I'm going to pull out this guy. He's the Spetsnaz. He's the Special Forces Division. He's also going to cost 1. So that's my production money spent. I now have to decide where I'm going to put them. So again, I was thinking about white print units mostly going in the north. And so this guy, I'm going to put him in Leningrad. And looking at the back of the back of the unit, he's got a 2 in a white circle, so he's going to appear in the 2 box in Leningrad. Similarly, this guy has a 2. He's pretty useless, but I might need to start thinking about building some of these roadblocks. So I might build him in. I've got quite a good unit in Odessa, and I'd like to build a crappy unit to replace it. So I'm going to build that in Odessa. This is a motorized unit. So I'm going to build that in the south because motorized work well with armor. And if I look at the back of that, it's got a white 3. So I'm going to go into 3 box with him. And then this one is also a 3. So he'll go in the 3 box. I'll put him in Stalino as well. Actually, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll put that anti-aircraft unit in Kiev. Where's Kiev? Over there. And I'll put the anti-tank in Stalino. Now, if you have a look at this chart, this 5th chart, you'll see all of the city names across the top of each column. And then underneath that, it's got a little stack of factories. So you see Stalino's got 2 factories.
Yeah.
That means I'm allowed to have 2 units in each of these number boxes. That's my stacking limit. So now this tank unit, I'll flip him over, and he's a 4, so he's got to go to the 4 box. If he was a 3 box, I couldn't have built him in Stalino because that would be overstacked. I'd have to go put him somewhere else, right? Maybe, I don't know, Vitebsk or something like that. But him, I'm going to put him in Stalino. He starts in the 4. And this guy's a special forces. And he starts in the 3 box. And I'm actually going to put him in Vitebsk. Vitebsk is close to the front. And that's because he's got a special ability. Sometimes I use him in the south, but I like to use him in the forest because he can walk through enemy zulks. Remember what I was saying earlier, that you have to stop when you move into a unit zone of control.
Right.
This guy here is exempt from that rule. He can walk into an enemy zulk and keep walking.
Okay.
He's a saboteur commando unit. So that's it. That's Russian production done. And now we do the deployment. Again, I'm going to pick units off the chart and put them in the city where they're going to. So at this stage, I only have the 2 units to deploy, one of which is this 7-factor infantry that's in the Kiev box. So I drag him off the production chart and put him into Kiev on the map. And then the other guy who's coming onto the map is Konyev. He's in the Vitebsk box, which is pretty much exactly where I want him. He's going to lead my winterized counterattack, and so he goes into Vitebsk. Eventually, I'll probably put him behind the front line somewhere because he's a very valuable HQ. But at this stage, he can sit in Vitebsk until I've got something good to go. And then these units in Stalino will start appearing over the next couple of turns. So we've kind of got a schedule of what is about to appear. Right? That's probably not as clear as it could be.
No, this is good. This it's sinking in slowly.
Yeah, so basically what you do is each turn you think, okay, what am I going to build? What do I need? And then some units, of course, take longer than others.
Right.
One of the things that I said to you is if you go to where Moscow is, look at Moscow on the map, I said, just be careful of this unit. Try not to lose him. If you flip him over, you'll find out why. He's got a 5 in the white circle in the back. So he takes 5 turns to rebuild.
Right.
That's most of a year. So you don't want to lose him in a frivolous attack, taking him off as a sacrificial loss because you won't get him back for a year and you need him for your assaults, especially once you start to grind into Germany and start to hit some of those factory units, factory stacks. You will need your engineers, right?
I see.
They help in assaults on factories and they help you getting across a river, et cetera, et cetera. So they're very useful units to have. Okay, so with those 2 reinforcements, one in Vitebsk and one in Kiev, your front line's looking a little bit better. It'll look a bit more better once we start to get some of these units some of the bigger units from the production chart on the map. And then in 1942, or at the end of this year, we're going to start building up the Air Force. The only other thing that I'm going to do now as part of reinforcement is I'm going to go up to Murmansk and Leningrad, where you've got a stack of 3 bombers in Murmansk, 1 in Arkhangelsk, and a heavy transport in Leningrad, and I'm going to take those off the map. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off and I'm going to put them in what's called the reserve pool. And each time I take one off the map, you get a pilot back. So I'm going to take those 3 and put them in the bombers reserve pool. And I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to put it in the heavy bomber reserve pool. Let me just double check that.
Where's the bombers reserve pool?
It's in your force pool.
Okay.
The USSR force pool on the far right-hand side. So you have to scroll all the way across to the right-hand side, and you'll see that.
I see it. Yeah.
And then this heavy air transport, and take him off the map. And I think he is also a 4. Let me just double check. Yeah, he's a heavy air transporter. So I've now removed those 5 units from the map. So I'm going to add 5 pilots. So you've now got 6 pilots. Each time you want to take a unit out of the reserve pool and put it on the map, it costs you a pilot. When you take a unit from the map and put it back in the reserve pool, you get the pilot back.
Where are pilots tracked?
If you see a little chit next to Moscow on the map, it'll say 6 pilots just to the northwest of Moscow.
Okay, I see it.
And the other one to the northeast is offensive points, or O points. They will be of use to you later in the game. You can use those for all sorts of fancy stuff, like unflipping your HQs or doubling your units in combat. So something that Rafaelis was just talking about.
So are like pilots an on-map thing, or are they just like that's just where they're tracked? But
that's just where they track. Look, you can put that counter wherever you like. If you prefer to put it in your force pool, you can. I prefer to keep mine on the map near the capital, just so that I can.
But it can't be like overrun. Like it can't be like captured or anything like that.
No, no, it's not an actual physical counter.
Right. Okay.
If the Germans get close to Moscow, you can just move it to somewhere else on the map.
Right. I see.
And the same with the A points. They're not physically on the map.
Right.
You actually, it's just a marker.
Got it.
That you can keep off to one side.
Got it.
All right. So that's it. Russian and Chinese production done. And we'll go back to the main room and see what the other guys are doing.
Two, 4, 6, 8 movement points gets you to the 0 box.
That's the Asia Pacific scale then.
Yeah, but remember, they're doing that because that scale there is off, all right? That's not the difference from Canada through to the North Atlantic. It's double that size. That's why it's double for the hex dots.
Yeah, it all comes down to what map scale it is. I think it's Asia Pacific equivalent. So
I don't know. Is he back?
I'll ask him again.
Yeah, he's
What's
back.
the question?
With the map we're using for the United States, what scale is it? Is it the Asia Pacific scale or
Yes, it's the Asia Pacific scale. Yes.
Yeah,
So each hex on the Asia Pacific scale is two hexes.
Accidentally built in Cincinnati. I'm going to rebase it next turn, so we can move double the distance. It can move 15 hexes. It can move 15 hexes because it can move double the range, I think.
Well, sea zones. It's a ship.
No, it's in Cincinnati, this fighter that I built.
Oh, a fighter. Okay. You can't move a fighter that is under production. You can only rail.
Well, it's produced. I want to do an air rebase on it next turn in an impulse. So I can move it. I can move it 20 movement points effectively. Or 30 if it goes triple the range.
Yeah, 30 because it's going across.
Coast, I can move it 15 hexes in that case.
That's correct, yes.
Yep.
Now, you can also rail it while it's under construction.
Well, it's already out, so it's not under construction. So
Okay, fair
I'll
enough.
just rebase it. It's not going to be a big deal rebasing it. It'll get 2 impulses. It'll be where it needs to be.
Yep. Yep. Correct. Blaine, how are you going with production?
Just starting. Oh, one quick
Mhm.
query.
Mhm.
Not production related. Eritrea is now conquered, isn't it?
Eritrea is now British conquered, yes.
Eritrea, yeah.
Yes. So the Eritrean territorial that is currently in French Somaliland comes off. Now, in the Commonwealth force pool, do you have an Eritrean territorial that is less than 3 combat factors? Let me look at what you actually have. Yes, you've got a 2 combat factor Eritrean territorial right here. I'll put it in your reserves. That comes onto the map right now in Eritrea. Right?
Yep, for free. All right.
For free. It cannot go into the capital because there's a Sudanese territorial there, and the Sudanese territorial and the Eritrean territorial don't cooperate.
Mm.
So they can't stack together. But it could go
Yeah,
into this mountain hex here or this hex here.
yeah.
So putting it here is probably the thing to do. Or you could put it here in this clear terrain hex as well. You can go to any hex in Eritrea except the capital. Right. And now the other thing that happens in conquest phase is that Spain is conquered. So all of the units are removed from the game if they're in Spain, right? So we do that now. We use the 1935 box to indicate that. So take those Spanish off and this guy off, and they're all removed from the game. The next thing that happens is, Blaine, you need to announce a new home country for Spain. And it has to be either Spanish Morocco or Spanish Sahara. My guess is you want it to be Spanish Morocco.
Yes, let's go with that.
Okay. And the any Spanish unit, land or aircraft unit, are there any Spanish land or aircraft units outside of Spanish Morocco? There was a
Only
fighter.
The fighter is in Gibraltar. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So what you would now do is you roll 1d10. So you do that in game as an 8.
Yep,
Any
that's all right.
Spanish land or aircraft unit more than 8 hexes from any hex in Spanish Morocco is likewise destroyed.
Right.
So your fighter is 1 hex from Spanish Morocco, so it's fine, right?
Fine.
So clearly that was never going to happen. Sorry, I'll just put this Eritrean territorial on just before we forget.
Cool. The Spanish Saharan territorial, does that fall under that?
Is not a Spanish unit, it's a Spanish Saharan unit. So it's unaffected. Yep.
That's the only other unit that was outside.
Yep, that's not a Spanish Saharan.
Fleet counters don't count, do they, Del? It's only land units.
Ships don't count, only land units, land and aircraft units, right?
Yep.
So every hex in Spain that's not otherwise marked is now owned by Germany. And Germany, of course, Rafaelis might want to just true up your production because you get some resources and use of the red factory in Madrid and the other red in Barcelona, but not the blue in Bilbao.
Yeah.
And units, hexes that are in an uncontested Allied ZOC remain under Allied control. That hex there is a ZOC, but it is not an uncontested ZOC. So it becomes German as well. So if there were no German units there or there, then this hex would remain British, but it's not. It's German. Okay. Returns to base look like they've been done.
Yeah. I moved the fleet marker into Pearl Harbor and put those fleets. I think it's the third fleet I've created there.
Yep. I saw that.
And there are 8 battleships and 2 aircraft carriers with planes in there.
Blaine,
Yes.
did you have stuff in the 4-box in the North Atlantic? I think maybe you didn't, because you got attacked there, didn't you? And you lost or got a ship aborted out of your 4-box.
Yes. Yeah. So
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Normally, if you have a ship in the 4-box, you want to just box drop it 1 to the 3-box, and it probably shouldn't be your best ship. So maybe the Hood in Cape St. Vincent, if there was something else better or less important, like even just that French light cruiser would do the job in the 4-box, then leave that in the 3-box, and the Hood should probably go home back to Gibraltar.
Right. Oh yeah, because it was the 3 battle cruisers in the 4-box, so it was.
That's correct. Yeah, you can leave one of the big ships out if you like, but generally speaking, it's just an ablative thing in case the Axis get first impulse and jump out. And where is the Queen's? Went home somewhere?
It's in Gibraltar at the moment.
Probably not a good spot for it. You want it on a high box in Cape St. Vincent, but it can get to the 4-box in Cape St. Vincent from Liverpool, and Liverpool's a bit safer than Gibraltar right now. Don't put your most valuable. Yeah, don't put your most valuable ship in Gibraltar.
Oh.
Rafaelis production and stuff underway. Done. Very good.
USA production's done. I think I've
Good.
deployed everything as well.
Good. So we're just waiting for Blaine.
Oh yes, sorry.
No, that's all right. You just have a quick look over the USA production.
Yes,
Yep,
please.
that makes sense.
Churning out more ships.
Okay, these 2 heavy carriers in San Francisco in the 4-box.
In the 3-box now.
They should be free. So
Yeah,
move them
I
across.
keep missing that. That.
Hornet.
That's the only one I've mucked up, I think.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Hornet.
There's
probably
2 face-up battleship. There's 4 face-up battleships in Los Angeles. Just entered the 6-box. 2 of them have a higher cost than the other 2, so I just have to be aware which 2 move into the 3-box before the other 2.
Yeah, some of them will go free earlier than the others.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the only thing.
The Iowa and the New Jersey are
to turn on the costs. Where's that located? Put them on the front.
On the main Vassal menu, you want toggle 5th BP display as the button.
Oh, there it is. Toggle, yeah. That one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it does that for you or for everybody.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
So you have spent
16.
16?
16, yeah. 4 BPs to the CW.
You built CLs in Washington?
Yeah, and there were they cost 3 because of the shipyard.
There's no shipyard in Washington. The shipyard's in New York.
The shipyard's in New York. Well, they should be in New York then.
Okay, move them down. I would maybe question the wisdom of. I would maybe question the wisdom of building all 4 at once like that. Maybe just build 2
Yeah,
and
because
then
it's more cost effective.
save
I guess.
save
Save the
yourself a
build
couple of
point.
build points,
Yep.
and
I
then looking
want
at
to get
what
them
else
out.
is.
Well, I wanted to get them out. That's the only reason I did it.
You really just you're better off just trickling them out. You're better off just getting them out, one or two a turn. Two a turn is always good.
Might be
I'm just
panicking a
seeing.
little bit now.
I'm sure you might be. It's always nice to have everything all on the map all at once, but that's not going to happen.
No,
Did
true.
you? If you save yourself 2 build points,
Yep.
there's still a few good fighters in the force pool. Fighter
Yep.
2s, an 8
Yeah.
range and a 9 range. You need those in the Pacific.
Yeah, I want to sort of get a good run of ships in the track and then start concentrating on fighters.
Yeah. The only problem is you're probably maybe 3 turns away from war with Japan at the moment. So a little bit of everything is a help. I would
Yeah.
maybe at this stage. So what I would suggest you do is I would suggest you take off 2 of those light cruisers. You've got plenty of time to build more light cruisers, but take 2 of them off now to save yourself 2 build points.
Back in the force
And I
pool
would spend one of those build points on a fighter.
Well, it'd be
And
two, because you get a free one. So if I whack 2 out there, it only costs me 1.
that's correct. So you saved yourself 2 build points by putting 2 light cruisers back.
So general function, I can just use the general function move to force pool or not? No, I'll manually move it.
Yeah, manually move it.
Yeah.
I think once you've
Once
put it on
you're
the
on the map,
chart,
yeah,
that option disappears.
goes away. All right.
So you've got 2 spare build points, one of which I would spend on a fighter, and
All right.
the other one of which I would be inclined to spend on a transport, because the USA can never have too many transports.
I have been building them.
Have you?
Yeah,
Whereabouts?
they're
Oh, I
in
see.
San
San
Diego.
Diego.
I've got an AMF and a transport coming there, and I've got a few in the construction pool already.
Oh, I
There's
see.
one in the
Yes,
construction
you have.
pool. So I have
All
been
right.
building them, but not as a priority. Only when I've
Okay,
got
fair
the
enough.
spare build point. So you reckon I should put another one out?
In that case, no. I would spend the extra build point on a carrier plane instead, because you
Yep.
can never have too many carrier planes.
Yeah, carrier plane and a fighter, you were saying?
Carrier plane and a fighter. Yep.
Yep. All right. Done. And we'll build them on the west coast somewhere.
No, the 4-factor fighter, build it inland. Sorry, the 4-range fighter, build it inland. It's not the one you wanted,
Oh,
unfortunately.
range, yeah, I'll put them on the east coast as well,
Put them on the
closer
east
there.
coast, and then that carrier plane doesn't matter where you build it. It's going to go on a light carrier at some point.
Philadelphia will do for the plane, that 4-1.
Yep.
It's sort of inland a bit.
Yep.
And they take, how long does that one take? It takes 2 turns.
2 turns to the fighter, 4 turns to the carrier plane.
Yeah. And he will go, if I've got the capacity for it, in somewhere like San Diego.
Yes.
4? Yeah, I can fit him in the 4 box.
Yes.
That's San Francisco. Hang on. San
3.
Diego is where I want him. There we go.
3. This is only 1 cost.
3. And he's only...
Free. No, not 3. Not the number 3.
No,
3 as
the
in...
box, yes.
Yep. So up here.
Oh, it's 4. Does it cost 4?
No, they cost 1, but they take 4 turns.
Oh, okay.
So you go straight into the free column.
Yeah, no, we're right. We're right.
All right. Let me have a look at Italy's building ships.
Yeah.
So they should. Some land units in Rome. And
Dale, just a
Nazgul.
question.
Yep.
Can a HQ provide offensive point bonus and do a HQ support?
At the same time?
Yeah.
Yes, of course it can. Yes. 2 different phases. Yep. It can attack, provide HQ support, and offensive point bonus all in the same impulse. Right. Italy looks pretty good. Germany, yeah. Question the wisdom of that float plane, the big
Yeah, I mean, it has 2 reorg points. That's what I like
Yeah.
about that, and also 2 partisan value.
Yeah, I'm not. I just think it's a very expensive plane for what it's worth. But some people like it. I don't ever build it as the Germans, but that's up to you. The only one issue: it can't be built in Cologne.
Oh, it has to be
Because-
built in Hamburg, for example. Yeah, because it has to
Yeah,
be coastal.
it's a float plane, so it has to be built on the coast. So Hamburg. Yep.
Like a ship.
Yep. And who's that? Is that von Manstein appearing in Berlin? It is. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a pretty good build. What's your force pool looking like? Because now, of course, you've got to look at your force pool and think, is there stuff that I haven't built yet that I need for Barbarossa? You've still got 7 mechs and 3 tanks in your force pool, and yeah, you're going to start the next couple of turns. You're going to want to think about how you're going to build those and where. But
Yeah, because they have to come out like during spring. That's the latest. Because I have to move them up. Yeah.
That's correct. You want to have a turn where you could rail them to Poland, and then, or possibly rail them to Romania, and then of course you don't want to be having to build all, 7 or 10 of them all in one turn, because you won't have build points for that. So anyway, other than that, that looks good.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Does spending build points to repair a ship trigger the shipyards, or does it have to be new production?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Spending a build point to either produce or repair triggers the shipyard.
Cool.
All right. Blaine, can we move ahead? You can finish your
Yep.
production and reinforcement in your own time. Let's move on with the next turn. I will hit the final reorg button, which I just did. Takes a little bit of time. Open the impulse chart. I'm going to do a save game. Save game as 055. Change it to 056. 41 July, August. And we'll just mark that start. All right. Can one player from each side roll initiative, please?
Just in game?
In game is fine. In vassal is
1d10,
fine.
I'll roll. There we go.
Yep.
2.
Axis will go first.
Axis get a +1 and allies win ties. Axis have initiative and allies have no reroll, so Axis will go first.
Mm-hmm.
So Axis first impulse. We flip that one, and it is now Axis impulse 1. Roll weather. Auto roll weather, please.
Fine.
6.
Storm. Fine.
Storm in the North Monsoon.
Yeah.
Nathan will tell you as well as I do that storm in North Monsoon in July, August is not at all uncommon.
Yeah.
Okay. Axis are declaring on Greece.
Axis declaring war on Greece. So
US
we go to
entry
the
roll?
US entry chart. It is a US entry roll of other minor, which is a 3.
A 3. All right. Roll that in game. 1d10, and we get an 8. So nothing happens.
You roll again.
Eleanor,
Because it's Italy and Germany, so for each you roll 3 or less.
Okay,
Yes.
roll
So
it
roll
in.
one more roll. Yep.
I get a 1, so I get a
Get a 1.
chit.
You do get a chit, and it has to go to the Germany pool.
Yep, that's all right. So chit pool, and I want to look at it first. Oh yeah, and we'll go to the German pool with that one.
Yep. The next thing that we do is we go to the force pools.
Okay.
We find the Greek units in the minors. Pull them out. Let's have a look. Greece. How many convoy points does Greece have? Can someone double check that in the
I
rules?
think it's 10.
Yeah,
But
I
let's
think you're
see.
right. I think it's 10. Oops. So 10. In addition to that, that's a non-SIF ship. I'm not having a lot of luck with this, am I? No. I'm going to have to take everything out of the stack.
Yeah,
So light
vessel.
cruiser,
I find it can be
heavy
a bit
ship.
fiddly at times.
And I'll put those back. And now land units. We have a mountain core. It's not 19. It is 1941. So the second mountain core will come on as a reinforcement, and of course the Athens militia comes on as a reserve. So the only unit that Greece has on the map right now is one mountain corps. Allies, who is
No,
Greece
it's
aligning
supposed to be Mountain Corps and an Infantry Corps. So they're supposed to have
Is it?
2.
Let me see if I can find it. Probably just not set up in the scenario file correctly.
Yes.
Where have I got?
Oh yeah, that's later. Yeah. There's a 1941
Right.
Grease box. There's a militia unit there.
Yeah, there's a militia.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
42.
there's
I
a
think I'm reading the wrong
1933.
one.
Here we go. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Militia, Athens militia, Mountain 1, Mountain 2. Inf 2 doesn't appear. Militia in Athens and the Mountain 1 doesn't appear till 45. Okay, so there's 2 face-up units, 1 infantry and 1 mountain. Who is going to own Greece? Allies' decision.
I think it has to be the Commonwealth.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Blaine's choice, but
Okay, so
France
Greece.
hasn't got any reason to want to run.
No, Greece has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units, half of which 5 must start in Greece. The others could start in Crete. So if you wanted to start up to 4 units, perhaps convoy points or a ship or something in Crete, you can do that. Otherwise, everything else starts in mainland Greece. Conventional wisdom, from my thinking, says remember it's potentially an invasion. You don't know where the invaders are coming from. So that to me says you really should put something in Athens.
Oh,
And
definitely.
then your choice is either, and people will differ on this, the Mountain Corps either goes into Athens or goes into this port here, Patro. The danger of that is, do you think he's going to get a 3-unit attack onto Athens? Well, looking at it, there's a paratrooper here there's a paratrooper here on a Luftwaffe plane which cannot paradrop, but it can be airlifted. There's a Marine Corps and a Marine Division up here. And so that to me says perhaps 1, 2, 3 units capable of hitting Athens, which then, of course, to me says if there's 3 units hitting it, obviously you don't want him to take it on the first impulse. So general suggestion would be to put both of your units into Athens. Admittedly, the Mountain Corps is stronger in the mountains, but the Mountain Corps is not stronger if you lose it the first impulse. So let's do the obvious and put both the units into Athens. That means you need to put. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to clone this. I'm going to make that 1 convoy point, and I'm going to make that 9 convoy points. And so now effectively you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, of which 3 must go into Greece. Honestly, the Greek ships are not very useful. The only thing that is actually useful to you is the convoy points. However, this ship here, let's just say, let's not just idolize the Greek Navy or anything like that at this stage, because it's both pretty stupid. Look, a light cruiser is a light cruiser and has an ASW value regardless of where it is. And often speaking, you're only putting your light cruisers into the 0 and 1 box anyway, so the speed doesn't matter. So my inclination would be to say, look, these 2 rusty old battleships are neither use or ornament, but I would put them in different ports just to make sure that, if he doesn't get to overrun everything by marching into 1 port. So I would put 1 here and 1 here. Obviously not this port, because this port's just going to get walked into by some Albanian territorials. But now you're actually making him think about what he's going to do. And you could put 4 ships outside of Greece. So if it was me, I would go 1, 2, 3, the convoy points, and 4, the light cruiser, into Crete. And then this guy, doesn't really matter where you put him.
Lemnos
Maybe
or
put him.
Salonika.
Well, maybe Salonika's going to get overrun by some Bulgarians. Maybe put him in Athens. And
Or Lemnos. Lemnos is not going to get attacked.
Lemnos. Lemnos is easy for him to attack at a later stage because he could, it's a free invasion because there's no supply to Lemnos.
CW could move it out by then.
Could do, but my inclination still would be to put it into Athens just to give it a ghost of a chance of escaping. There's a big swarm of bombers over here. That's right. The big swarm of bombers over here. So, obviously they're going to come and cause you trouble. There's probably not a lot you can do about this.
Yeah.
Is more likely to ground attack your infantry than he is to port strike a lone convoy point. So we'll move these guys aside. They don't appear just yet, and that is the setup of Greece complete. So Axis can commence their movement. Any other declarations?
No.
Okay. All right. So Germany and Italy, pick your impulse types. So Germany land, Italy naval, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Japan combined, is that correct? Phil?
Yep, that's right.
See Phil.
Yep.
Okay, off you go. Chinese reinforcements, for your information, Phil, was 1 unit into here and 2 units into here, including an artillery.
Okay, we have a port strike.
Yep. Port strike on where?
Yeah, I'm just Tangiers.
Tangiers.
Tangiers, okay.
There are multiple fighters that could reach. Looks like there's 3 bombers going in.
Just to for some reason, there one is duplicated.
Oh yes, someone was saying about that. Okay. So sometimes sometimes the solution is to flip it and flip it back. And if that doesn't work, that has not worked, then dragging a new one out of the counter mix is often the solution. Anyway, so there's 2 bombers going into Tangiers. There's 3 Axis fighters nearby. So Blaine, it's up to you what your, and this is a port strike, correct? Not a ground strike, port strike.
Yeah, port strike.
Okay, so Blaine, up to you what you're going to send in there.
I will intercept with the Spanish fighter.
The little cherry. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Since it's Italian manufacturer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay, let's go to air-to-air combat.
Yeah, let's go to the air chart just so we get used to
and a
using
roll
it
for the
again.
surprise.
Yep. Yeah, roll surprise first because it might be a nothing. Okay, so 1d10 from each of you. Tangier is a minor port, so it's surprise level 3.
Oh
9,
dear.
2. Oh dear.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a 7-point split. So it's 7 surprise points for the Axis
I will
going in there.
do -1 to him on
In the
air-to-air,
air.
and I will save the rest. Yeah, the rest for the port strike itself.
Okay. So we'll put in, -1 on the fighters. So Spanish fighter rolling first at -1, -3, sorry, Blaine. 16 at -3 might be some damage. It is a DA. Raphael,
I
if
will
you
abort
abort
the
something,
German
abort the
fighter.
fighter, and rolling back at +2.
8.
8 at +2 is probably an abort. It is. So the Spanish guy goes home. Both bombers clear in. And you have some AA. What's in Gibraltar at the moment? Force Z.
It's on Tangiers though. The
Yeah.
port
Oh, it's
strike.
Tangiers.
5 against 1.
Yeah, I
Ship.
would have thought
There's only a transport in there, I think. Is that
So
right?
it's just the transport. So there's no AA. Let's grab the naval chart.
Okay. So it is
It's what,
5 against 1. Move up 2.
5 against 1 ship.
So it's an X and a D.
An X and a D. Well, in theory, it can save that. So roll to save the X first, Blaine. No,
No.
it
that
doesn't
doesn't
save.
seem promising.
Goes to the bottom. Okay. Take your bombers back to the 2 valid hexes, please. Let me see if I can deal with this Italian duplicated plane. This isn't a module problem, by the way. It's we have seen.
It's a vassal bug, is it?
Yes, we've seen this happen in
Other models. Yeah.
other modules. Yeah. in particular, the Europa module seems to be
All right.
plagued with it. There you go.
Okay. I
Oof.
have a ground strike on Athens. 2 planes. They're
Yep.
doubled. I mean, they're not double,
Yep.
but 2 dice for each.
Yep.
So
Yep.
4d10 for the mountain unit. Flipped. 4d10 for the other one. Missed.
Not flipped.
Miss.
Oh wow.
Oh. So we'll flip that guy.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, that's a good number.
Mm. Yeah, good combat dice. Not so good for ground strike though.
Yeah,
Nathan, in ground strikes, you're trying to roll under your bomber's value.
Okay.
So high valued bombers are obviously better at ground strikes, and ground strikes can be quite a good, effective way of obliterating units,
yeah,
at least
especially
putting
on
them
a
in a
surprise
weakened
impulse.
position.
Huh?
Yes. Oh, I see. So it's actually only one of those Greek ships actually on the map.
Okay. Um, it did a few things out of order. Should have searched in the Cape St. Vincent with my
Okay.
sub.
All right, we can do that first. Cape St. Vincent search. Does anybody want to react anything out? I see a wildebeest in
Yeah.
Gibraltar that could react.
Wildebeest.
There's a German fighter that could react. There's a Italian bomber that is not quite going to make it. It's going to
3.
react 5. No, it won't get to the 3 box on a reaction because it reacts
yeah,
at
'cause
half,
half.
range, which is
Yep.
5. So it'll get to the 2 box, but
2
not
box.
3 box. Or you could just put it in the 0 box.
I'd be
yeah,
putting it
that'd
in
be
the
nice.
0 box.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
No more reactions?
The French can't do anything.
Okay, roll your dice. 7 Raphaelis, 2 Blaine. Well, the Axis don't fine, but the Hood does, and the
And the
Frigate
French
fines.
ship? Yep.
The French ship is in the 1 box. Oh, the
there's one in
Primigate,
the
the French ship
box.
in the 3 box. Yeah.
Yep.
So this will be a surface combat.
I think it's
So
something sunk.
I think it is just do this the right way around. So the Allies have 9 surface factors onto 1 ship, which is here. Should have put another ship there. Would have had 10.
Mm.
The Axis have 2 surface factors onto 2 ships, which is nothing. The Allies have same box, 7 minus 2 is 5, so 2 column shifts. So that will put a D, 2 Ds and an A on the sub. Can survive it. Raphaelis, roll the first D. Doesn't survive and is damaged. Roll the second D. Survives and is aborted.
Oh, that
So
was lucky,
damaged,
wasn't it?
damaged
Yeah,
and aborted.
got out of that one.
Mhm.
Goes into the repair pool, I guess.
Yeah.
It's damaged.
This is where a Commonwealth sub-hunter hanging around in the Western Med says, no, 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 no repair pool for you.
Mm.
Well, successful convoy defense.
I'm glad the Hood stayed out.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think the French ship on its own would have done much, actually.
Well, it wouldn't have, but it would have had 2 column shifts, so it would
Yeah.
have had pretty much the same
Maybe,
effect.
maybe
It would have had a
it
D,
was a bit of luck. Yeah.
a D and 2 A's, so it certainly would have
Yeah.
cleared the sub out of the C zone, which is sometimes all you need.
Mm.
All right. We got 2 ground strikes in.
China,
China. All right.
whereabouts? Marked them.
Yep.
One next to Xi'an to the south,
Yep. All
and
right.
one in the
And
mountain
the other one?
peaks
Yep. All right. They're both in
next to
the
Chiang.
North Temperate, so
Both
they're both
clear.
in fine. Yep. All right. So I'll do
Okay,
the
hang
top
on a
one first,
second.
if you like.
Just hang on a second. I did see something earlier. Yeah, you're right. Where was your artillery?
Yeah.
There. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's next.
All right.
Next to the HQ. All right.
Yeah, I was going to say because your supply ranges, the supply range is in trouble. You need to actually be adjacent to the
Yeah.
HQ, and
Yep.
the HQ needs to
Yeah.
be on the rail line. If you move the HQ off the rail line, he'll be automatically. So if the HQ goes into Kuayang, he'll be out of supply.
That's all right. We're all good so far. All right.
Okay, starting at the top to the bottom or bottom to the top, whichever way you want to do it.
We'll start at the top. All right.
Okay, 3d10. So we hit.
Flip him. All right. Okay. The top one, 3D10. Got the middle thing, whatever that
unit.
is. All right. Yep.
3 factor infantry. Alt F rather than Control F for flipping units. Phil? So they stay face up but get a face down marker across them.
Fair
Okay.
enough. All right.
Yeah, artillery, so I can still see what
All right.
factors.
So, what do you read? Alt F. All right.
Alt F. Yep.
Yep. All right. All right.
And then
Okay.
the next one, 2 rolls at 4.
Yep. And 2 rolls at 4. I got the top
Hit.
one. All right.
Oh,
Top
one.
unit,
Hmm.
the militia. Mm-hmm.
And that's about all we're going to do there, I think. All right, where are we? Where's my aircraft? There.
This will be our last impulse for the night, guys. So
Yep.
Yep.
You'll go
looks
there.
like Greece is about to be landed on.
Okay. I overrun ships in Crete.
Okay. All right. So you've invaded onto Crete from the 3 box in the Eastern Med. Okay. So we'll just. So what we'll do now is we take the ships out. I'll change that to a 3. And then
Duplicate it.
clone it twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
All right. So left to right, Blaine is trying to save his ships, starting with the light cruiser. Roll to see if it survives. Oh, he's done a 4d10. 7, that escapes. 6 escapes. 1 is captured. So
So it goes to the
this becomes.
yeah,
Yeah.
into the repair pool, I
So
guess.
yeah,
Becomes
that's right. So you
German now.
take.
All right.
No, it can become any nationality he chooses. So what
All
you
right.
actually do, you can make it Italian if you want. So you would take that off rather than marking it like that, Raphael.
Oh,
Just,
yeah,
just
I can put 3
delete
Italian
it
ones, yeah.
and just put 3 Italian convoy points in the repair pool, and the other 3 are sunk.
Everything has all the
When you
Greek units
capture,
now
they
have
go to the
an
repair
Italian
tool, do
flag.
they?
Yeah,
Get that?
he's marked all of Greece with an Italian flag. It doesn't make any difference. All right. So let me just check something else. You didn't overrun the French heavy ship in Kitama here, Raphaelis?
Yeah, I did not.
Okay, all right. So these 2 ships that get away, the 1 ship and the convoy point, now must make a run through the Eastern Mediterranean. Raphaelis, you can intercept them should you so choose.
I will.
Okay, flip a ship and roll to intercept on a 3 or less. Would probably both run together. Yep, so they get away. Blaine, where do you want them to go to from there? They can go through the Red Sea. There is a sub out there. They can go through the Western Med, which is unoccupied. What do you have in Gibraltar? They cannot land in Gibraltar because the Spanish fighter there would be forced out. They could go to Malta, but they'd be out of supply.
Just while we're here, Del,
Um,
that French battleship should be down into the one box because I forgot to drop him last RTB, so I'll move it now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the one the Italians captured. It's not yours. So
That's not right. Is that Italian one, is it? Yeah, right. Oh, pardon me.
Oh,
So
dear.
at this point, so at this point, your options are can't go to Tangier, can't go to Gibraltar.
the port of if not Port Suez. Sorry.
You
Sorry, I've got
can't go to
write down.
Suez.
What about the port in North Egypt?
No, you
Damietta?
can't go into Damietta. You can't go to Egypt at all. Non-cooperating minor
Oh,
countries.
that's right. Not a corporate. Yes. Yep. I keep.
Oh, that's a bummer.
You can go to Malta, though, can't you?
You can go to Malta, but you'd be out of supply. You can go to British Somaliland because British Somaliland is a territory, not a country.
Uh-huh.
So that I think is probably your best option.
Yeah, it's probably better.
You can keep going once you're through the Red Sea. You can actually go double your range. So for the cruiser, it's 4. So 1 to the Eastern Med, 2 to the Red Sea, 3 to the Arabian Sea, and you could end up at a port in India, like Karachi or Bangalore or wherever, right?
Yeah.
And the same for the convoy points. So that's probably your better option, is to send them across to
Let's
India.
try that.
Yeah.
Okay. So to do that, they've got to get through the Red Sea.
Yep.
So again, Rafaelis, you have the option to intercept. Did your sub stay out there, Rafaelis, and drop a box, or was it moved out this impulse?
Doesn't have a move indicator on it.
It stayed out
It
there.
doesn't. I see. Okay. All right. So Rafaelis, you can intercept in the Red Sea. Should you so choose, you don't have to. Is he there?
Oh, well, yeah,
Maybe he's
disappeared.
AFK for a bit. Phil, do you want to make the call?
Right,
Is
I'm back.
intercept in the Red Sea.
He's
sorry.
back.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Rafaelis, you can intercept in the Red Sea should you so choose with the Bren.
No.
No? Okay, so off they go, and they're going to a port in India. I'll just drag them across the map.
Oh, well, you got 3 convoy points out of it at this stage. That's worthwhile.
You did, right? Yep.
That's something.
So I've just left them in the Arabian Sea. Blaine, you can put them in whichever port you so choose. They could go to Seychelles. They can go to any port in India.
I can go to
They can go to
Colombo.
Malay. They cannot go to Colombo because it's a
That's
non-cooperating
another
minor.
country, is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got to be EU for it, yeah.
Capital. Yeah.
Ceylon's a minor. Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
I could stick them with the task force in Bombay because there's no
You
other.
can put them in. Yep, you can put them in Bombay. Now, at the end of the turn, that Greek convoy point will come off. The 3 Greek convoy points will come off and be replaced by 3 Commonwealth convoy points.
Oh, yeah.
Any other combat in Greece, Rafaelis? Seems that you've just landed on a bunch of hexes and taken what you can take. Salonika got advanced into. The Albanians didn't advance. Crete was.
So why are those paradrops free attacks?
Yes, they are, because remember, Greece is surprised, so it's -1 on all the notionals.
Yeah,
And the surprise impulse means that those units in Athens don't have a ZOC. So even the +1 bonus for being in a ZOC doesn't count. So they're
Yeah.
all zero factor notionals. They're all free invasions. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that
Right.
tricked me a bit, those invasion rules.
Can be. Right. So I think that's it. Let's move it along. So over to the Allies to hit the impulse N button.
Okay, I'll do that. There's no modifier.
There's no modifiers.
Yeah, just doing that
Certainly
now.
aren't passing this
There.
stage.
That's fun.
Yep.
Just waiting for it.
So again, Nathan, we advance the impulse along by 1, and there's an end of turn roll to see if the turn ends, but the turn can't end on the first 4 impulses.
Okay.
So we leave it there. I'm going to do a save. File save as 057 41 JA. It'll be Allies I2. So we will come back now. I had a bit of a snafu with my calendar. Is it next weekend? It is next weekend. So we will come back in 2 weeks' time, because next weekend, next week, my wife and I are going away for holiday for 3 days, but
Oh, lucky you.
because of
That's good.
scheduling, they could only get us back on Saturday night rather than Saturday morning. So next Saturday, I'm not going to be available.
Yep.
So
All right.
Saturday the 21st is the next